Hey, it's Will here from EverydayAce.com, here to talk to you about Robert Kiyosaki's Cashflow Quadrant. So what is the Cashflow Quadrant? Essentially it's EBSI. Okay, so it's employee, business owner, self-employed, and investor. And these are all different ways of creating wealth, creating money. As an E, you're an employee, you have a job. As an S, you're self-employed, you own a job. As a B, you create a process that creates jobs. And as an I, you have money, make more money for you. Okay, so most of us in this life are E's. And a lot of other people that we know are E's. We are E's, our family's E's, we've been E's for generations. And that's not a bad thing. One thing about the cash flow quadrant is you can make money, you can make wealth in any of the quadrants. You just need different traits, different abilities to succeed in each of the quadrants. Okay, so even though you can make money and become wealthy in each of the different quadrants, it's nice to transition to different quadrants depending on the kind of life that you want to live. If you want to be an E for most of your life, you can become wealthy. You just need to have a job, you need to save up, you need to spend less than you earn, and then eventually you might be able to become wealthy if you do some investing in the I quadrant and it goes okay for you. As an S, you're more likely a professional like a doctor or a lawyer. You own a job. The drawback about S's is that as soon as you stop working, it's done. The business is done, right? It depends upon you. If you're not doing the thing that you get paid to do, then it stops. The business stops. The business stops. It's very lucrative, and of course it's very lucrative to be a doctor or a lawyer, as a lot of people will tell you, but you own the job, right? So the difference between an S and a B is a business person. They own a process that creates jobs. B's, if they're doing it right, don't need to be there. They can retire even, but the system that they built is still creating wealth, generating revenue. If they do their job correctly, they don't need to be there to be able to benefit from the business that they've created. And lastly, I, as an investor, you have money, make money. So essentially, as an investor, if you're doing things right, and you can be on autopilot and just have that money that you invest, if you do make your investments correctly, generate more money from the wealth of that investment. Okay, so one critical feature of the cash flow quadrant mindset is that you can start off anywhere and move anywhere. You can stay in one quadrant and live in one quadrant. You need different traits and abilities for different quadrants. So right here, let's just tackle the ability to start off in any of the quadrants or play in multiple quadrants at a time. So Robert Kiyosaki points out that you don't need a lot of money or capital to start in any of the quadrants. Let's take each of them in turn. For the E's, you're an employee, and that's pretty self-explanatory. If you don't have a job, you can go out and get a job, and that's the financial advice that a lot of guidance counselors, your coaches, your teachers, maybe your parents will tell you. Just get a job. For an S, S's are a little harder because they're professionals. You need to build up, usually you have a credential, and that's a little bit tougher to get if you're just starting out. But you don't necessarily need to have a credential to start a business. There are plenty of famous YouTubers who have dropped out of high school even and are doing extremely well as S's, having their own businesses. Okay, so what about B's? A B, if you have a great idea, if you're a Mark Zuckerberg, for example, you can start off, create a business, and you don't necessarily need credentials. You don't need to have a lot of capital. Sometimes you need a great idea, you need to put in a lot of hard work, and you can start there. Okay, and finally, I's. As an investor, you could say, I don't have any money, how can I become an I? Well, you can take after one of the greatest investors who ever lived, Warren Buffett, who's still alive and I hope stays with us for a long time. But he started off not with a lot of money at all. He needed to go around to family, colleagues, and get seed money that he could use to invest. And if you are just starting out, maybe you have a great idea for real estate investment in your local area. You need to pitch to people, to other B's or other I's who have that capital, who you can go in with and then get your start. Okay, so this is a lot to think about, and we'll explore other areas of the cash flow quadrant in later videos, but visit everydayace.com for a write-up on the cash flow quadrant, and think about what you are currently, EBSI, or maybe something else entirely, and what you want to become, or if you want to play in multiple quadrants. And these are different paths to wealth. Enjoy.